Imagine a time when helmets were optional, and mountain biking was just a glimmer in the eye of adventure seekers. That's the world Nick Craig grew up in, a world where flat pedals, football shirts, and gardening gloves were the norm. But here's where it gets fascinating. Craig's journey from cyclocross novice to mountain biking legend is a tale of grit, evolution, and a love for two wheels that spans decades. And this is the part most people miss. His story isn't just about winning, it's about the raw, unfiltered beginnings of a sport that's now a global phenomenon. Nick Craig was pedaling long before many of today's MTB racers were even born, and there's hardly a cycling discipline he hasn't tackled. With 8 national titles under his belt, 3 in cyclocross, CX, 3 in Olympic distance cross-country, XCO, and 2 in XC marathon, XCM, Craig's resume is nothing short of impressive. He even represented his country at the 2000 Olympic Games, competing in both the road race and mountain biking events. Now, at 56, the Stockport native serves as a brand ambassador for Scott Sports and is the driving force behind Ride for Charlie, a heartfelt initiative honoring his late son, Charlie, a promising young racer who tragically passed away at 15. The organization supports up-and-coming riders, ensuring Charlie's legacy lives on through the sport he loved. It all began in the late 1970s, when Craig, by his own admission, stumbled upon bikes. "My dad introduced me to cyclocross when I was 9, he recalls. Picture this: a 24-inch Raleigh arena, trainers, flat pedals, tight shorts, a football shirt, and his mum's gardening gloves. Helmets were a rarity back then. That winter hooked me," Craig says. Riding cyclocross on bald tires was like learning to dance on ice, sliding through corners, just trying to stay upright. By 12, Craig was a jack of all trades, competing in track, road, cyclocross, and criteriums, anything he could get his hands on. But here's the twist: his training sessions weren't high-tech camps. They were bikepacking adventures, before the term even existed. "I'd go youth hosteling in the Lake District or spend days in the peaks," he explains. "A saddlebag full of sandwiches, a couple of quid for tea at a cafe, that was my idea of cycling." Cyclocross was his gateway, but mountain biking stole his heart. After dominating national-level cyclocross races, Craig found himself drawn to the off-road scene. "The summer road races didn't do it for me," he admits. Then, in the winter of 1988, he tried mountain biking for the first time. "We rode around Kinder Reservoir in deep snow on Muddy Fox Couriers," he recalls. "We froze, couldn't feel our fingers, and walked most of the way. We thought, this isn't for us." But a bike shop owner in Huddersfield convinced him to try again, and the rest is history. By 1989, Craig had formed a team and started racing mountain bikes. The sport was still developing, he notes. There were big prize pots, £1,000 for a cross-country race, but riders like Tim Gould dominated. "I was on rigid bikes, learning the ropes." One of his earliest highlights. Competing in the inaugural UCI MTB World Championships in Durango, Colorado, in 1990. "It was incredible," he says. "I was a 20-year-old kid with a massive boombox, traveling to race at altitude. That trip changed everything." But here's where it gets controversial. Craig even dabbled in downhill racing in the early 90s. Riding for Peugeot, he competed in the Grundig Cups across Europe. "Lillehammer was my best result, I finished 5th, he recalls. But at the 1992 World Championships in Vermont, I realized I was out of my league. Riders like Steve Peat were dominating, and I knew XC was my true calling." Craig's journey raises a thought-provoking question. In a sport that's evolved so rapidly, what does it take to stay relevant? His answer: adaptability, passion, and a willingness to try it all. From cyclocross to XC, downhill to bikepacking, Craig's story is a testament to the enduring spirit of cycling. But we want to hear from you. What's your take on the evolution of mountain biking? Do you think today's riders have it easier, or has the sport lost some of its raw charm? Let's spark a conversation in the comments.